Hello everyone, it is Gail from Ticket to Anywhere. It is Friday, so you know what that means. It is time for another edition of Friday Fragment, which is a meme hosted by James over at bookshiclub.blogspot.com. So be sure to head over there and add your links when, the time is up. But this week I am going to be reading to you from The Stone Child by Dan Poblocki. It's a very, very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cover. If you haven't seen it yet, head to a store and go pick it up because this is an absolutely gorgeous cover, which you really can't see, half the detail in this little webcam thing here that you are looking at now. But yes, so this is a book I've been reading for a while now, and I'm not very far into it because I do most of my reading at night. And I've heard that this book is scary, and I don't do scary, and since I do read at night, which is right before I sleep and, start to dream, I try not to read scary things, because then I have nightmares, because I'm a wuss. So, I haven't made it very far into it yet, but what I have read, I have liked, the first 30 or so pages, and I will get to finish it all eventually. I just need some more daytime reading. The scene I'm going to be reading to you is from chapter 4. The main character, Eddie, has recently moved to the town of Gatesweed? Oh shoot, I'm forgetting the name of it. Does it say? Yes, Gatesweed. He moved there with his parents, and he's learned that his favorite author, Nathaniel Olmsted, used to live in the town before he mysteriously disappeared. And right before this scene opens, his mother had given him a book that she and his father found at some estate sale, and it's by Nathaniel Olmsted, and it's all written in code, and so he's heading off to the library to see if he can, break the code. So Eddie had never had a ton of friends, and he revealed that kids didn't understand stuff like studying astrological star signs or reading about old Babylonian statues or researching ancient Aztec gods at the library. People in Haverhill just tended to ignore the way things could be or might have been, so they tended to ignore Eddie. His mom was always trying to get him to talk to people. Once she signed him up for baseball and soccer and karate, but Eddie only learned that he wasn't very good at hitting or kicking. Plus, there was never very much talking involved. So Eddie found his friends in books. Nathaniel Olmsted's stories were so vivid and strange, it was as if they had been plucked directly from Eddie's own brain. Maybe here, he thought, people would understand what it felt like. He locked his to the stand and made his way up the stairs. When he pulled hard on the heavy glass doors, the scent of old books wafted out. Eddie took a deep breath and stepped inside. In the center of the main room, 2 shallow balconies stretched from wall to wall, fenced in by intricate wrought iron railings. Tall shelves lined up vertically like teeth, running along the entire length of each floor. The books were a sight to behold. Their spines were a jumbled mishmash of different sizes and colors. Some were new, but most were dusty, musty, and worn. Spiral staircases wound their way up through each floor. Though much of the room was cast in shadow, a skylight allowed the sun to spill down into the main level where Eddie stood. He gaped up at the beauty of the place, and didn't realize his mouth was open until he heard a voice ask, "Can I help you?" The librarian sat behind a large wooden desk. A nameplate on the desk said Mrs. Singe, Associate Librarian. Her hair was wavy and dark, and her happy face was round. She smiled at Eddie, so he smiled back. Sometimes book people were easier to talk to. "Hi," he said. "I'm looking for a book about solving puzzles." "Crossword puzzles?" she asked. "No. Puzzles, written in code." "What kind of code?" Eddie thought about that. "Like this," he said, reaching into his bag and pulling out the book his mother had found the night before. He opened it to the middle and handed the book to her. The librarian flipped through the pages. When she happened upon the first page, she glanced at him, squinting with what looked like concern. "Where did you get this?" Mrs. Singe asked quietly. "My mom gave it to me." "Do you know what it means?" The librarian's face turned red. "Of course I don't know what it means." "Why would I know what it means?" "I just thought," he said. He cleared his throat, trying to compose himself. Maybe it wasn't so easy to talk to book people after all. "Can you recommend a book that might help?" "No, actually," she suddenly said. "I'm quite busy, and the library closes at noon today. She turned her back on him and started typing something at the computer on the table behind her. Eddie's face burned. Her attitude toward him had changed when she saw the first page. He wondered if the symbol written there had upset her, or if it had been Nathaniel Olmsted's name that sparked her irritation. Eddie decided not to ask. Instead, he quietly made his way to a cluster of computers near the back spiral staircase. Pulling up the librarian's online catalog, Eddie suddenly had an idea. Since his own Nathaniel Olmsted books were packed away, it might be worth checking out a few from here, just to acquaint, or reacquaint, himself with some of the town's locations. When he typed the author's name, a message appeared. We did not find results for Nathaniel Olmsted. Confused, Eddie checked his spelling and entered the name again, but he received the same message. No results. How could that be? He glanced at the librarian at the front desk. She was watching him. When she saw him looking at her, she flinched and turned her back to her computer. Eddie shivered. The librarian must not be a fan of Nathaniel Olmsted. Eddie understood that some people didn't think Olmsted's books were very good. They weren't considered literature. Still, it seemed odd that the man's hometown library wouldn't carry his own books, even if they were supposed to be in an Olmsted curse. The tow truck driver's words echoed in Eddie's head. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Don't be silly, he told himself. It's only a story, right? So that's my fragment, badly read, though it may be, from The Stone Child by Dan Poblocki. And that's all I really got for you this week. Be sure to let me know what you are reading and if you did a Friday fragment of your own. Until then, happy reading, and I will see you next Friday.